Our farm has been here since before the state of Michigan, so it was founded in the 1840s. This land has always been in the family. It's always been worked by our family. I think it's one of those things where it's not just a business, it's part of who we are. Sheep have always been part of the farm. It's always been a diversified farm, but the sheep have always been an important part of it. And today, sheep are our main product.
My great-grandfather came to this country and set up what we call the home ranch over in the Rio Vista area in 1877 and started raising sheep and cattle and grain, and that was the program for the next up till now, which would be the 5th generation with my son.
My grandfather came from Canada in 1892, and he and his brother bought this ranch. And my father continued after my grandfather died, and then my husband and I came in 1987 and began to work for my father.
I wanted to raise lamb because it's something that you can do and you can kind of make your own. With crop farming, nothing can be varied. I mean, it needs a certain amount of nitrogen, needs a certain amount of everything. With the sheep, the practices, there's so many different ways to do it.
The traditions that are handed down are the love of the farm. We're entrenched in some of the old practices of raising animals naturally. Those are things that we will always do.
There's something about the relationship of animals and land that is so complex and so interesting, and it never gets boring.
I haven't had to change anything that I've done from the start. It's a standard husbandry practice, so I'm just going with what's worked for 5 generations, so I'm going to stick with it. As long as it keeps working, I'm going to stay with it.
It's a family-run business. We kind of have a family time, and it'll be my mom and dad and I, and sometimes my grandma will come. That's one thing that a lot of people don't have too, is just the time with their parents and their grandparents. And with my grandma and grandpa helping a lot on the farm, it's been really good to be able to grow up and actually know my grandparents.
Understanding the animals is really key to raising sheep. You know, you get really close to the animals and you really do build a relationship or a friendship with them.
You get to know them as individuals, and you've got, especially with the dogs, you've got this 3 species thing going on all the time. You've got the dog interacting with the sheep, and the sheep interacting with the dog, and both of them interacting with humans, and it's endlessly fascinating to me.
The local trend, I think, is probably the predominant trend in food right now. I think people would like to know where it comes from and what the story is.
I think local is very important for flavor, for freshness, for conservation of natural resources. It's very important.
Locally grown, you're able to see the conditions that animal is raised in and grown in.
American lamb is raised all over the country. But one of the reasons why I feel it's important that we go to the farmer's market as a family, as well as having a retail store, is to understand the customer, what they're looking for and what they want, and also for them to understand us and our story of how we raise these animals and what exactly they're getting as a product.
Our belief system is about the importance of the land, the importance of good husbandry of the animals, and the importance of providing to our population the fundamental resource of good, clean, nutritious food that is absolutely excellent in taste.
A lot of the sustainability that we do are practices that we don't do, if that makes any sense. Things that we don't do: growth hormones, antibiotics in their feed. I don't fertilize any of my pastures. I'll just raise on the pasture what the pasture can naturally produce. It worked 35 years ago for my great-grandfather, so it's working for me like that now.
We've sort of expanded our sheep operation just because of the growth of the lamb industry. I think in recent years the demand for lamb has really taken off. People are discovering lamb. It's a different protein. It's something new to try. There's a lot of demand from chefs, from foodies, from people that just are maybe ready for a change from beef, pork, and chicken.
Having a family farm works for me because we're all connected in this thing together, and so you're working for your own well-being.
A friend of mine said, "You're not a good shepherd even if you're not with the animals, you're not thinking about them just a little bit." There's rarely time that you can shut it off and go home and say, okay, I don't care anymore. It's all the time.
I want to be profitable and to be able to make a living, but I mean, my goal isn't to become rich. My goal is to just raise the best quality lamb that I can possibly raise and to have fun with it.